I said I was going to do it this year, and it's March, but I finally did it. I read Jodi Picoult's first book. Look at how beautiful that cover is. I'm going to be buying each and every one of her books. It was so much fun reading a book again. I love reading Kindle because I can take it anywhere. But reading a paperback again and turning the pages was so much fun. I am going to be doing way more of that this year. It only took me till March, but I did it. I don't even know which one of hers is next. I have to go look. But let's talk about this book. And let me get my notes. Songs of the Humpback Whale came out March 1st, 2002. So it's March 2nd and it's 19 years later. How crazy is that? Her first book, I heard things. It made me think about it for a minute. I was like, okay, am I going to be disappointed because I've read her most recent book? To go back, am I going to be disappointed in the writing? No, I wasn't. I know there are people out there who were, but I really wasn't. I don't know why. I loved it. I saw her coming through that carries on to all of her books. I highly suggest that you do this. I'm going to be doing this with authors more and more and more. I think it's amazing to see their progress. It's amazing to see what they've done with their writing. It's just fun. That's why I'm going to do it, because it's fun to do. And I had so much fun. So let's talk about this. This was a book of relationships. Now, I'm not going to say that her books aren't always about relationships. Seriously, from the ones that I've read so far, this one is way more. It is just based solely on relationships. We have husband-wife, brother-sister, mother-daughter, even father-daughter in a little bit. But we have Jane and Oliver Jones. Their marriage is complicated, but isn't everybody's marriage complicated? I don't know. I'm starting to think that. I mean, at this age, you can't really look at any marriage and say, oh, it's so perfect. And I think every marriage is complicated, but theirs might be just a tad bit more complicated. That's what I can say. Theirs might be a tad more complicated than other people's marriages. They have one daughter. Her name is Rebecca. Jodi always goes back and forth timelines. I am used to Jodi going back and forth. I really am. I love it. I love that she takes us from the present to the past with each and every character. And a lot of people get confused by it. And I read a lot of comments on Amazon of people who don't like it. I actually enjoy it a lot. It keeps me into the book. It keeps me turning the pages. I love to see where she's going. And then I love how she has a scene and then each different person's point of view from that same scene. And she did that a lot in this book. I personally think it's brilliant. And if I ever wrote a book, I would do that. I probably won't, but if I did, this is how I would write one. We have Rebecca, and she's a teenager. Her life is complicated because of her parents. Imagine you're an only child and your parents' lives are just messed up. Their marriage is messed up. She watches a lot of abuse taking place. She takes her mom's side, and one day they decide they've had enough and they leave. They are in San Diego. That's where they live. And they decide they're going to go to Jane's brother, Jolie, back home to Massachusetts. And they're going to drive. This book is a road trip. And it's so cool the way she takes you. Because I have driven across the country, but I took the normal road. Not that I didn't see a lot of cool things, but I took the road. I took the easy road, not them. She gets on the road, Jane, and she decides, you know what? I don't even have a plan here. I'm going to drive to Massachusetts, but I really don't know how to get there. So she says to her brother, can you just let me know how to get there? And he says, I will leave you notes along the way. How he does it, we don't know. We're assuming that the mail service back then was just excellent because it's not how it is today. As they get to each destination, there's another note of something that he wants them to see. And I thought it was brilliant to change the setting like that, to take them across America. That part I loved so much. Oliver, her husband, he studies whales for a living. Hence the title, Songs of the Humpback Whale. He's always working. Part of the problem is he's a workaholic. He decides, you know what? They left. he knows, he's like, they're going to go see her brother. She's going back home, basically, and I'm going to follow them. Not take a plane, which wouldn't have led for a very interesting story, right? Not take a plane. No. He's going to follow them, but he's going to drive too. And then he's going to try to figure out the roads they took, which is also pretty freaking interesting. I don't know. I thought it was really interesting. We have them going across the country. We have the mother-daughter. So Rebecca turns 15 while they're on the road. I have been a 15-year-old and I've had 15-year-old daughters. She must. I don't know if Jodi, actually I think she has sons. I don't know for sure. She must know it. She does their relationship spot on. I felt like I was talking to my mother, and then I felt like with the mother, I was talking to my daughters. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. The brother-sister relationship was one of the most interesting. I am the older sister to a brother. As I'm reading it and you're understanding their relationship like a little bit more, and Jodi's kind of piecemealing their background, kind of piecemealing their childhood, Jane sort of saves Jolie from also an abusive relationship that their parents had. And then as they grow up, he's kind of her savior, especially in this book. And I so related to that. My brother is only 18 months younger than me. We had a pretty difficult childhood. I always wanted to protect him. And then as adults, I feel like he's protected me a lot more than I had to protect him. Or I don't know, the roles just kind of reversed. It was a lot. I mean, I really, really understood their point. It was interesting reading from his perspective how he felt about her. I don't know if my brother feels that way about me. It would be interesting to ask him that. But we're still very close and we've been through a lot of stuff. I don't know, when I talk about him or when I think about him, he's like my person. I don't want to say, I have 6 children, I've got 10 grandchildren. I'm not going to say I love him more, but I loved him first. So I always kind of put it that way in my brain. Well, he takes that special spot because I've loved him my whole life and I was there. I get it. I get what Jodi was doing with their relationship. It's interesting how it turns out, and it's not how I would have predicted that it was going to turn out. But Jodi does that with endings. I find that sometimes I like her endings and sometimes I don't like her endings. This was a little of both. I wasn't totally satisfied with it, but I wasn't not satisfied with it. The book is worth reading though. The book itself is so amazing. It's just the ending. I was like expecting some kind of revelation, and there was a little bit of a revelation, but it wasn't like, it was kind of like a Danielle Steele ending, if you ask me. I love a happy ending. I just would have done it in a little bit different way, or would have liked if she did it, because I can't write and she can. The point is, if you are a fan of hers, go get this book. You will be happy that you did. I am. I can't wait to read the next one. I have a couple of other books coming up first, but I will be on this journey to read each one of Jodi's books in order. It's a great thing, let me tell you. The more I read, the more I've learned to read all their books. If you like an author, support them by reading all of their books. Thank you for watching. Until my next video.